Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. Run for the UKV, look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as it is going to be fairly unsettled. There will be some drier periods at times throughout this week, but we will see equally times where we have got lots of heavy rain around as well, especially in the west through Wednesday into Thursday. Further eastwards could see some very persistent rain moving in off the Atlantic. Other days this week will be some dry weather, as said, but plenty of showers as well. We're still seeing some unsettled weather even today, where it's been pretty much widely the best day since probably Thursday, Friday last week. Temperatures are going to be pretty cool as well, below average still, with the upper air temperatures being very poor for the time of year. But if we do see some glimpses of sunshine, which I'm sure many will do at some point this week, temperatures could feel more summery, but really is pretty poor for what many would expect for this time of year. As we progress into August, as we'll see on the GFS, GM, Eastern WF and the ensembles, this unsettled spell is going to continue. Some glimpses perhaps in the longer range of something a bit drier and warmer, but those glimpses have been there for the past few days and nothing really has developed from them, so I haven't got a lot of optimism for that. The overall trend is for very unsettled, if not pretty stormy conditions from some of the runs today. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, which do like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. To start on the live radar, you can see it is a much drier day, or drier afternoon I'll say, because we did see quite a bit of heavier rain earlier today in the morning. Now across the southeast, we have got some sort of patchy rainfall, and this is that weather front that was sat through northern regions yesterday, sinking southwards and disintegrating. Has moved through a lot slower in the southeast than many of the models yesterday anticipated. By around 3 p.m, most of this precipitation was expected to be off into the North Sea or over towards Europe, but still lingering. And ahead of that weather front, we have seen some heavy thundery showers breaking out. Most of these now are out over the English Channel, North Sea, or across into Europe. So most of the rain across the south and the east is light to patchy. And where you're not seeing rain, it's probably got some quite thick cloud, feeling pretty cool. Further northwards and westwards, well, we've had pretty abysmal conditions through most of the weekend. We saw pretty much washout conditions at the Ashes. Today, it's beautiful sunshine with partly cloudy weather, but no rainfall in sight. So, unfortunately, a day too late, really, but many areas further northwards are much nicer. But as this low clears out to the North Sea and towards Europe, we're actually tracking in some very cold air for the time of year. So, yes, sunnier, yes, drier, but feeling even colder. Put on those temperatures as of around 3 p.m, it is pretty poor. Best some light oranges, again indicating temperatures in the mid to maybe high teens, just about touching 20 degrees. At best in a couple areas, really poor for the time of year. And even parts of Northwest Europe now starting to cool down with temperatures here maybe mid to high 20s at best. Really, summer is dominating in southern and southeastern Europe. Northern and northwestern Europe really hasn't been great the last few weeks or so. Now, if you go lastly look at the past 24-hour precipitation, you can see all the rainfall that has fallen through Sunday. Again, this is not every bit of rainfall through the weekend, because especially further northwards we saw rain on Saturday. That won't show up here, so it's only the past 24 hours. But you can see all those regions that had the yellow warning near Old Trafford and Manchester, up towards northern England, up towards the border area, seeing heavy rain. Many regions seeing around an inch of rain, and these areas where we're seeing some yellow, where we saw some torrential rain, getting up towards 2 or 3 inches, or 60 to 80 millimetres. So a lot of rainfall has fallen in many of these regions, really quite miserable conditions. But as I said, today it is much improved, and that should be the same through tomorrow. For Wednesday, things deteriorate once again. So if you go over to UKV and look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, you can see all that rainfall in the southeast now eventually starting to clear, and been a bit more delayed than even the UKV this morning anticipated. By 3 p.m, anticipates all that rain really to be on the coast or offshore, but it's still lingering inland, especially towards the London area. So yeah, been very slow to clear. Showers elsewhere, but some breaks in that cloud. Into Tuesday will be another day of sunshine and showers, more extensive showers tomorrow, but once again still plenty of sunshine, especially further westwards, with the heavy showers towards southern Scotland and northeast England and across the south coast as well. But as we head into Wednesday, we start to see things deteriorate once again in from the west. You can see that towards the Republic of Ireland by lunchtime, heavy rain is moving in, and for many in western regions, where Wednesday afternoon into the evening, washout conditions moving in, dominating overnight into Thursday, and then more heavy rain throughout most of Thursday morning. For the afternoon, it should start to clear, but still got some lingering areas of light to moderate rain and thick cloud. So luckily, if you're in the east, most of this rain will fall overnight through Wednesday into Thursday, but if you're further westwards, then Wednesday lunchtime for Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and the afternoon for parts of Wales, southwest England, and then spreading through the rest of the evening. As said, through Thursday, it will improve through the evening. Could see some heavy rain linger in the southeast into Friday morning. Need to keep an eye on that, as that positioning could move. And into Friday afternoon, another day of sunshine and showers, but still pretty dry across the far south and the far north. Showers concentrated across northern England and East Anglia. And then finally into Saturday, another day where it does look likely to have plenty of sunny spells and dry weather, but equally it's a band of very heavy thundery showers also moving in from the west through the morning. That could give more torrential rain. So you can see throughout this week, it's not going to be absolutely abysmal. There will be washout conditions for some on Wednesday and perhaps into Thursday morning as well, further eastwards. But mostly it will be a week of sunshine and showers, which really is the temperatures that are going to be poor. We put on those upper temperatures. Remember, average for the time of year is about 10 degrees at 850 HPA for July. And you can see really here, we're just about touching that perhaps when we see a weather front move in through Thursday. But not really affecting the surface temperatures, just fueling the showers and the rain band. So we are pretty much below average for the whole of this week, and you can see that well reflected in the 2 metre temperatures by this afternoon. Temperatures at best around the 18 to 20 degree mark, but mid-teens under the thicker cloud and rain. In towards Tuesday, temperatures at best could get to 21, but still that's really poor for the time of year. Most mid to high teens. As we head into Wednesday, still really poor for many, but could just about nudge 22 or 23 ahead of the weather front for central regions, so it could be reasonably nice there, but elsewhere still struggling in mid to high teens further northwards and westwards. And then to Thursday, we do see that warmer sector in, so again could see low 20s, but it will be very much where we avoid the heaviest rain and the thickest cloud. And then finally into Friday, temperatures will still be decent in the east, maybe 23 to 25, so trending towards average or maybe even slightly above average in a few spots. But colder air masses are moving in from the north and the west. So Wednesday to Friday could see an improvement in those temperatures by a couple of degrees, maybe into the low 20s here, but I'm not particularly optimistic for seeing those temperatures too widely, simply because of what the precipitation is showing, where we are seeing plenty of showers. So widespread 23 to 25 on Friday will very much be dependent on shower activity and the thickness of that cloud, and we'll keep an eye on that, as it could be a reasonably nice day on Friday if we do avoid that rain. Now, if we do move over to the GFS now, have a look at the longer range. You can see a northerly wind coming in at the moment, and that's why it's going to be cool the next few days. The next low approaches off the Atlantic does drag in milder sectors. That's why temperatures could improve through Wednesday to Friday, but again, it'll be all dependent on the shower activity with the low pressure system. It is weakening as it moves through. That's why through Friday we're not expecting any big walls of rain, but heavy thundery showers perhaps still. But as we head beyond that into the weekend, we stay with a westerly flow, a very strong westerly flow, and even there, producing quite a strong storm system into the 1st of August, down towards 980 millibars, perhaps towards the centre of that low, very deep along the jet stream. And that continues on a very unsettled westerly note, all the way to 384 hours, where things could start to look a little bit different. Up to 300 hours, staying very unsettled and still reasonably cooling off the Atlantic. But right towards the end of the run, could see a bit more of an improvement with the wind veering more from a southerly as the low pressures out towards the Atlantic, sat towards the Atlantic, not moving in as much. And that will drop a southerly flow. Hot air is moving up from the Med in towards France and would be heading towards the UK. So that would be something we need to keep a very close eye on. You can see all this hot air is slowly transitioning further northwards. So we'll have to see. But again, it's glimpses in the long term. Majority of this GFS run keeping it very unsettled, pretty stormy, and some of those low pressure systems will have some very strong winds associated with it as well, and lots of heavy rain. You can see that from the accumulated precipitation here. Jet stream just firing off the Atlantic, the whole of the British Isles seeing around that maybe 50 to 100 millimetres mark. Again, that is average July rainfall, if not higher than average July rainfall in the next couple of weeks, let alone what we've already had the last few days or the last few weeks. So setting up to be a very rainy month this July, and could extend into August as well. If you do look at the GEM now, again, northerly wind moving in at the moment, low pressure running in off the Atlantic over the rest of this week, but weakening towards the latter part of the week, and that's why we're expecting more showers instead of big walls of rain. Beyond that, though, as we head into the 1st of August, into next week, still very unsettled westerly flow, still strong lows, but they're positioned further northwards, so more likely to see the heavier rain further northwards towards Scotland, and it could drop some hotter air from the south. The 15-degree isotherm gets in here, so that's really quite warm, but it is associated with lower pressure and associated with a weather front. Therefore, we'll be quite uncertain whether it actually would produce anything particularly warm, or whether it just make it feel pretty muggy, with thick cloud, areas of rain and drizzle around, like we had over the last couple of days. We did have some quite warm upper air temperatures in, and that's why it did feel muggy at times, but really didn't produce anything too warm because of the cloud and the rain. So it could be a similar scenario here, and not only can it make it feel pretty miserable, that hot air could even fuel the low pressure system to be even deeper and stronger than initially anticipated. So yes, warmer upper air temperatures here from the GM, but not particularly not going to produce anything particularly good as we do head into early August. If compared to the ECMWF, again, a northerly wind coming in, very unsettled, low pressure coming off the Atlantic, but weakening as it does. And then as we head into the 1st of August, another quite deep area of low, not quite as strong as the GFS or with as tight isobars, but regardless, still very unsettled and still pulling the air in off the North Atlantic and out towards the North Pole, meaning the upper air temperatures are cold, and you can see plenty of blues appearing here, making it very apparent that we are going to be pretty chilly and below average temperatures from the ECMWF as well. So not too much of a change. Perhaps the only change really is that these low pressure systems are strengthening perhaps at that day 7 to day 10 range. So as we head toward the last couple of days of July and early August, could be seeing some hints of re-strengthening from these lows, especially this low heading through on the 1st of August. That could be quite severe in around 8 or 9 days' time, so I have to keep a very close eye on that, but at this stage it's too far out to say anything with too much certainty. As we do progress towards if we now have a look at the ensembles, you can see that as we progress towards August, temperatures are not going to really improve. Generally, upper temperatures just about touching average when we see a warmer sector move through, and you can see that here on the 28th. Upper air temperatures do spike a bit, but the precipitation does as well, and that's the same around the 1st of August. Upper air temperatures get towards average or slightly above average, but precipitation spikes. So really, any warmer air is associated with a low pressure system and a weather front. So yes, would go a bit warmer, a bit more muggy, but will be associated with lots of heavy rain. Generally, the driest conditions actually come when we've got the cooler upper air temperatures, the drier upper air temperatures coming in off the North Atlantic. So yeah, not good at all. As we do progress into the first 10 days of August, no real signs of improvement, staying fairly unsettled, and the upper air temperatures are still well below average. Some warmer runs here, but really nothing to shout home about. The 2 meter temperatures are pretty poor, generally just about getting into the low 20s over the next few weeks at the best of times, but of course whenever we see the rainfall it will hold those temperatures back, and you can see the sea level pressure is generally pretty low, 1010 millibars or lower at times over the next couple of weeks, which isn't insanely deep, but it's pretty deep for London considering we should be well away from any summer storm tracks this time of year. It should be well to our north, but that is not what we're seeing. Yes, signs of perhaps some higher pressure in the longer term, but nothing too definitive as we saw from the precipitation charts, not really changing all too much in the longer term. If you finish by looking at the ECMWF, very similar. Lots of precipitation, and again the highest amounts of precipitation coinciding with the upper temperatures peaks. So generally pretty poor temperatures and pretty poor in terms of precipitation as well. So very unsettled over the next few weeks. Will be some glimpses of some warmer, dry weather at times, but generally we're not expecting anything close to any traditional summer weather. We're looking at pretty autumnal weather really, and it could even spike some more stormy weather as we head towards the last couple of days of this month and the first few days of the last month of meteorological summer. Hopefully that we do see something changing, as it will be pretty abysmal if this January continues all the way, if this July sort of weather continues all the way through August as well. Really only good weather we've had in summer were those few weeks in June, which were very good. Many people even started complaining about how dry and warm it was, but we've seen a complete U-turn, and it's been incredibly poor, really, through much of July. Again, it's probably also to do with the fact that the last few Julys and last few summers in general have been well above average in terms of temperatures and a lot drier than average. So even though this summer really statistically is coming out towards average at the moment, maybe above average in precipitation, but temperature-wise around average, we do think it does feel pretty poor compared to the last few summers. But I guess this is the average that we should be expecting, and just our expectations have kind of just been improved quite a bit over the past few years because of all the hot weather we have had. So we'll have to see what happens over the next few weeks, but the general trend is for unsettled conditions to continue, cool conditions to continue as well. Potentially things even getting a bit stormy as well at times. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.